Hello guys, so now today we are going to learn how to cut basic trouser. What I mean by basic trouser is, for a basic trouser, the width of the knee and the ankle is the same thing. So from your hips you curve it to your knee, then from your knee down to your ankle is straight. That is what is called a basic trouser. So this is what we are going to cut today, and this pattern we are going to cut today, we are going to use it subsequently. It will be like our pattern master. So subsequently, when we want to cut palazzo or any other trouser, we are going to refer back to this trouser. So if you're having issues with trouser, I promise you, if you follow all the steps in this class, you are going to get it very, very easy. Now, for the measurements we are going to need, we're going to need the hip measurement, the waist to hip, the knee, the ankle, then the full length of the trouser. This is what we are going to need. We don't need a lap. So now, the hips, you divide it by 4. For this person, her hips is 45, divided by 4 is 11.25. I've already done the calculation. The waist is 38, divided by 4, 9.5. Then the waist to hips, what I mean is, where your trouser will stay on the waist, you will measure it to the hip. You know that place where your hip usually protrude out, that is it, that is the waist to hip. Some people own is 7.5, some is 8, some is 9. So it is very important for you to measure it, because this is very important. So for this person, the waist to hip is 8 inches. Then the knee, the round knee measurement is 21. The ankle is 21. You know, I told you people that we are going to do basic trouser. So the knee and the ankle is the same thing. So it will be straight down. Then the full length is 43. This 43 is very flowy, like it's rubbing the floor. So by the time the person wear heels, it will be nice, like all those pictures you see on Instagram. Then the knee, from the waist to the knee is 18 inches. So this is the measurement we are going to use. Now, for I did another calculation here. This is universal. So any other trouser we are going to do on this channel, we are going to use this. For the front flap extension, it is usually hips divided by 20 for front flap extension. So in this instance, my hips is 45, divided by 20 is 2.25. Then for the back flap extension, it's usually hips divided by 10. In this instance, my hip is 45, divided by 10 is 4.5. So I'm going to refer to all these figures as we go on. So now let's go and cut. Let's go and draw our pattern, then we'll transfer it to fabric. So these are the equipment we are going to be needing. This, a straight ruler, and tracing wheel. You will need this tracing wheel, especially for the pocket. To create this, you are going to draw your starting point. Measure 1 inch. This will be your starting point. Measure 1 inch here, then 1 inch. I've already drawn the starting point on this shoulder. 1 inch here, 1 inch here. So now our hip measurement is 45, divided by 4 is 11.5. So I'm going to create a box. For me, I'm going to measure 11.25 rather. Sorry, it's 11.25. Oh, not 11.5, please. I'm going to measure 11.25. From here, I'm going to measure 11.25 also. I'm going to measure it to know if it's really accurate. So I'm measuring it now. See, it's 11.25. I measure it like this. It must be accurate, please. 11.25. Measure it 11.25. So I've created a square 11.25 all around. That's my hips divided by 4. Now I'm going to impute my waist to hip measurement. You know, from this place, my waist to hip is 8 inches. So I'm going to impute it. This is 8 inches. So I'm going to connect it. Can you see? So I've connected it. I told you before that the front flap extension is 45 divided by 20. That is hip divided by 20. In this instance, we got 2.25. So you are going to measure 2.25. This is 2.25. This is 2.25. So you are going to impute this 2.25 starting from this edge. Starting from this edge, you are going to impute it. So 2.25, I'll put it there. And on this place, you are going to come out by 0.25. Come out by 0.25. Can you see it? Come out by 0.25. Take your curve, connect this place. Let this place connect this dot to this dot, then blend it into this place. And I've gotten it. Now I'm going to measure the full length of the trouser from this The full length is 43. So I'm going to measure 44, including 1 inch for folding. So I measure the full length, then 18 inches for the knee. So now we've gotten the full length of this measurement. So now what we are going to do, we are going to come to the waist. For our waist measurement, let me bring the paper again. Our waist is 9.5. So there will be that in this trouser plus 1, that is 10.5. So you are going to measure 10.5 starting from this place. You are going to measure 10.5. Measure it. So you are going to take your hip curve once more, and from the this line you blend it up. Just move it up, let it connect this place to this place. So you come out from this place, come out by half inch. From the side, come up by half inch. Then I told you that the waist measurement is 9.5 plus 1 is 10.5. So you divide it into 2. That is 10.5 divided by 2. Then you measure it out. I'm trying to get the dart now. The dart leg. Measure it out. Measure it. For the front, our dart measurement will be 4 inches. So you can just measure 4 inches. Can you see? Measure 4 inches. This is it. Usually between 4 inches to 4.5, but I'm doing 4 inches here. So connect it. So that's half inch here, half inch here. So you connect it. So I've connected. Then this place that I came on by half inch, you are going to connect it to the edge of this dart line. Can you see? So this is this. So we are done with this waist part and the hip part. So now let's go to the down part, the knee line. Now to get our knee measurements, we measured it, the knee point. So you are going to measure this from everything from this point, measure it to the edge here. 13.5 by divided by 2 is 6.75. So you are going to place 6.75 here. Place 6.75 here also, and place it at the down part of this trouser. Connect this line to the end. See it? So I've connected the knee point. The width of the knee is 21, and the ankle is also 21. So 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. So we're going to divide 10.5 across this place. So it's the 10.5 divided by 2. 21 divided by 10.5. Then divide that 10.5 by 2 again. Just do your own. So it will give you 5.25. So that means you are going to put 5.25 here, 5.25 here. Do the same for the ankle. So you are going to take your hip curve now. You are going to take your hip curve. Please note the way I'm placing this roller. You're going to take your hip curve and connect it from the knee. Connect it to this place. Please note the way I'm placing the roller. It's very important. If you place the ruler wrongly, you are going to get another thing. Do you understand? So from this place, you are going to connect from the hip line, connect it to the knee. Just connect it gently. And you can just blend it in here. Just blend it in. To not be sharp. Blend it into what you have here. Just blend it. Can you see? So now you're going to take your long ruler from here, connect it to the edge. Yeah, we've gotten our trouser measurement. Can you see? So this is our basic trouser. Now I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to do, I want to create pocket and pocket bag for the front. Then we'll transfer everything to fabric. Now to do that, our band will be 1.5 inch. I'm going to use 1.5 inch for the band. So if you want it to be 2 inch, you are free. So what I'm going, this is the front pattern. So what the first thing I'm going to do is to close the dart. I'm going to close the dart like this. So I want my band to be 1.5 inches. So I've already measured the 1.5 inches. Remember, this is still the front. I'm going to cut it out. So this is how it looks. So now I want to create our pocket. So I want my pocket to be from the side. From this side, I'll come in by 1.5 inch. I'll come down by 7 inch. You can make it less if the person is short. Just connect it. Note that the wider it is, the more harder it will be for the pocket to relax. So I don't want it to be too wide. So when the person wears this, it's going to relax very well. Can you see it? Then from this place, I'm going to measure 3.5. I'm going to measure 3.5 inch. From the edge here, in fact, you can make your pocket stop at your hip line. From the edge, I'm going to measure 3.5 or 4 inches. Let me do 3.5. So you just form a square. Connect this top. Can you see? I formed it. So now this whole place is our pocket bag, and this place is our pocket. So now you take a plain paper like this. You take your tracing wheel. So I want to transfer this pattern, this pocket pattern, to this paper. So what I'm going to use, I'll use this tracing wheel to trace out the line. As I'm drawing it, you will not see it, but this tracing will be marking the line on the paper. So I'm going to trace it out. I'm going to trace here like this. Let me trace it so that you see what I'm saying. Just apply. It's like a wheel. It will just be rolling. Can you see it? Can you see it? It will be forming a dotted. If you have not used tracing wheel before, it will be forming dotted line if you trace it on the paper. So I'm tracing the pocket shield first. Can you see it? Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it, but I can. If you use it to form dotted lines. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my pencil to trace out the dotted line. Just trace it out to form. Can you see it? I've traced my pocket bag. Now I want to trace my pocket itself. So I'm going to ignore this place. So I'll trace from this line like this, round. So this is our pocket sheet, and this is our pocket itself. So you know, when we're drafting, we've not added allowance to it. So the amount of allowance you want to add to your trouser, to your folding allowance. For me now, I'm adding 1/2 inch throughout, except the down part. I've already added 1 inch for the down part. So for the pockets now, since I'm adding 1/2 inch on the trouser, the sides, both sides of the trouser, I will add on this side, I'll add on this side. So I'm going to add 1/2 inch all through. So I'm going to add 1/2 inch round for the pocket shield, 1/2 inch for the pocket itself. So it's time to cut the back, since we've drafted the front and the pocket. So now let's draft the back. For us to start, I'm going to start with the line. I'm going to measure 3 inches across, and I'm also going to measure 3 inches to the down part. So now that I've created a border line of 3 inches, I created 3 inches here, 3 inches here. So we're going to go over our measurement. I'm going to measure the knee line, which is 18. So I'm going to do that measurement and come and show you guys. Okay, so now we're going to create a box just the way we created for the front part. We're going to create a square with our hips measurement. So our hip divided by 4 is 11.25. So I'm going to use it to create a box just the way we did for the front. Can you see it? So I've created the box for the front, for the back, just the way I did for the front. So I've created this box. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check my waist to hip just like the front, which is 8 inches. So I'm going to measure 8 inches and connect it. Can you see it? So I've connected it. Now what we are going to do, we're going to extend this line. We're going to extend this line. So we'll extend this line so we can get our crochet extension. So just measure 11.25 and just extend. Please pay attention. This is where the difference between the front and the back comes into play. We'll come in by 1 inch here and we'll mark it. Then on the waistline, you come in by 2 inch. On the waistline, you come in by 2 inch and also mark it. Your ruler and connect it. Make sure when you are connecting it, extend it to the top. Can you see it? So now, in order for you not to make mistake, clean this first line. Just clean it up. We don't need it anymore. So now this is our new crush line. Can you see it? This is the crush. So now our hip extension for the back, you know, when we are doing the calculation, our back hip extension is hip divided by 10. That is 45 divided by 10, which is 4.5. So from here now, you mark 4.5. From here, 4.5, and you mark it. Can you see it? From here to here, 4.5. Then you come in by 0.25 in, just the way we did for the front. Then you take your curved rule. Make sure you connect this place to this place and connect it into the trouser. Just blend it in order not to have a sharp edge. Just blend it. So we are done with this part, this side of the trouser. Now on this part, you know, we extended the line upward. You know, when we're rolling, we extended the line. So you are going to measure 1.5 inch up. I think this 1.5 inch is usually for this person. Now this person's hip is 45, so from hip 38 upward you can use 1.5 inch. But if someone that has very big bum, you can extend it by 2 inches. So to measure our waist measurement divided by 4 is 9.5 plus 1 inch, that's 10.5. So I'm going to measure 10.5 here. Note the way I'm doing my tape roll is slanted. Can you see it? Just measure, just note 10.5. Don't roll it yet, but you can just note it down. So this is my 10.5 mark. You are supposed to extend this line so it won't disturb you. Extend this line to the allowance I left earlier. Good. Now I've extended it now, so let's continue. Now you're going to measure your hip divided by 4. Start from this line and measure it. That's 11.25. Can you see it? Good. Now please just calm down. You are going to measure the difference from here to the edge of this paper. Can you see it? For me it is 1.9. So you are going to minus the difference from this place too. So I measured it is 1.9. I'm going to measure 1.9 away from this place. Good. So now I'm going to use my ruler. We are going to connect this to this place, then connect it upward. Then when you are connecting it, make sure you extend it upward to this waist point that we measured earlier. So you connect it upward. Now if you remember very well, when we were doing the front, we came up by 0.5 inch at the side of the front. So you do the same for the back. So this is it. Now since you've come up by 0.5 inch, you will now connect it from here to this place. If you do it well, it will be slanted. Now the next thing we are going to do is to get our dart measurement. It's 10.5. This whole line here is 10.5. So 10.5 divided by 2. So I'm going to, for the back dart, the depth will be 5 inch. So you are going to measure 5 inch and connect it. Measure ½ inch on both sides. So we've created our back dart. Now we're done with this topmost part. Now let's go to the down part of this trouser. You know, this line here is our starting line from the side, and we've already come out by some inches. So you are going to measure how many inches you came out by here. You are going to impute the same here. you're going to impute it here, then impute it downward. No, we're trying to create another sideline. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're trying to create another sideline. So on that crotch line, the difference I used to come out, I'll measure it, is 1 inch. So that means I'm going to measure 1 inch downward. Then I'm going to cancel this line out. So let me do it now. Can you see it? So now I've created another line. So in order for you not to make mistake again, you can cancel it out or clean the line. Start from this crotch line. Just let me cancel it, so you know that this line is no more useful. The new line we're using is this line we extended from. So you cancel it. So now what you are going to do, as we did earlier, we are going to measure from your crotch extension, measure it to this new line. Can you see it? That's 11.9. So I'm going to divide it by 2. 11.9, divide it by 2. Can you see it? So I'm going to measure it now to get my midline. So I'll put the tape rule here and measure the midline. You start from the crotch line. Just use your ruler to connect it so we can get the midpoint. See it? So now I've connected the midpoint, which is nice. So I've created a midpoint. So now remember, we are cutting a basic trouser, and a basic trouser, the knee and the ankle is the same thing. So it's 21. 21 divided by 2, which is 10.5, right? 21. So the round knee is 21 divided by 2 is 10.5. So I'm going to divide that 10.5 by 2. 10.5 by 2. So it will be 5.25 here, 5.25 here. However, since this is the back, I'm going to add extra half-inch allowance here, an extra half-inch allowance here. Now do the same for the knee. So 10.5 divided by 2. 10.5 divided by 2 is 5.25. So when I impute, let me put it here. Can you see? 5.25. This is it. But I'm going to add half-inch, his allowance, since it's the back. Can you see? So I'll do the same here too. This is 10.5. I'm going to add half inches, which will give me 11. So I'm not using this line again. 10.5 divided by 2, 5.25. I add half-inch allowance, is allowance. I do the same for the other side. 10.5. I add half-inch, is allowance. Can you see? 10.5, half-inch. So you are going to add half-inch to whatever your knee measurement is, your knee, round knee, and your round ankle, whatever your round knee each. By the time you divide it, you are going to add half-inch, just the way I added. Can you see it? So I've added half-inch and I've added half-inch. So we want to connect it. Now we've connected up to this point, right? To the crotch line. So you are going to connect from the crotch line, connect it to this line, like this. Connect it. So can you see? You take your ruler like this. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I've connected it. So you can just use your ruler, blend this place so it will not be pointed. Blend it. Now I come to this side also. Come to this side. From the crotch extension, I connect it to this line. Connect it. Please note the way I'm placing my ruler. If you place your ruler wrongly, you're going to get a wrong pattern. Can you see it? So this line is not useful anymore. I've cancelled it. Now I'm going to connect this line now. I'll connect it to the ankle. Connect this other line here. Connect it to this ankle. Pattern is ready. So now it's time for me to cut it out. Can you see? Please note the way I'm cutting it. So I'm cutting it out now. Cut it. Please be careful here, oh, and avoid any sharp edges. So you cut it. So I can explain it very well. Good. And so this is the back of our trouser. Can you see how beautiful this pattern looks? So this is the back. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to close the dart and remove 1.5 inch for band, just the way we did for the front. So let me close it now. Now I want to measure 1.5 inch with band. So you measure 1. So this is my trouser. This is the back. This is the front pattern. Can you see it? And this is the pockets that we did earlier. Can you see the pockets? So this is it. So this is a 3 piece. So I've drafted for the 3 parts of the trouser: the front, the back, and the pocket. So if you remember, it is ½ inch we added to the pocket. So now I'm going to cut out the pocket. So this is my pocket facing, my pocket bag, my front, and my back. So now I'm going to cut out this place that we removed when we are drafting our pockets. Can you remember? So I'm just going to trim it out from the front. And all our patterns are ready. So now what I want to do is to transfer this onto fabric. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using. So now I've already pinned my pattern paper to the fabric itself. So it's laying flat. So you remember when we were drafting, we didn't put allowance. Do you remember? Sewing allowance. But we added sewing allowance at the pocket area. So for the pocket bag, we added ½ inch sewing allowance. So, and the pocket facing too, we added ½ inch sewing allowance. So I added ½ inch at the top part and the sides. In fact, I added ½ inch sewing allowance round the trouser. This is the back. But I'm going to do the same thing, exactly the same thing for the front. You add ½ inch, which means that if you are drafting your pocket and at your pocket bag, the side, you added 1 inch instead of this ½ inch I added by the side, make sure you add the 1 inch by the side of your trouser too. If it is 1.5 inch you added by the side of the pocket facing and pocket bag, it is ½ inch you are going to add. But for the inside, like the crotch side, it is ½ inch. That's the standard. If you add 1 inch sewing allowance, it will be bulging. It is ½ inch. But for the sides, you can make your own 1 inch sewing allowance or ½ inch. But this place, I want it to be very flat and it should look very professional. So I added ½ inch or round for the pocket and the pocket bag. I'm doing the same for the front of this trouser and the back. So I'm going to cut out the back, then I'll cut out the front off camera. Then when you are doing it, make sure when you get to this dart line, notch it. So it will be easy for you when you are sewing. Notch it. Can you see? So this is the front. I've cut out the front. Can you see it? I also notch the dart. And this is the back. So I want to draft out my pocket facing and pocket bag. You are not adding any allowance. Just cut it out. Cut 2 pair of this and 2 pair of this facing. This is our pocket bag. I'm going chalk it so it will not be difficult when we are sewing. And this is our front, this is our back. So now we'll come to the end of the drafting class for a basic trouser. So next class we are going to do a video on how we're going to couple these pieces together. So kindly like, subscribe, and share so that this channel will grow. Thank you and enjoy your day. Mwah.